Danny Joseph puts a rock and roll spin on I Heard It Through the Grapevine on The Voice Season 26 Voice Playoffs. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Voice Official 24, a new video. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a like up. The lights were turned down, the stage was prepared, and the audience was buzzing with excitement and expectation. I Heard It Through the Grapevine, a renowned smash from Motown, was set to undergo a daring rock and roll change, which was going to be performed by Danny Joseph, who eventually became a breakout sensation. Danny was prepared to demonstrate once more why he was one of the most talked about musicians of his generation. He was known for his explosive stage presence and his unique ability to rework classics. At the very minute that the very first chord burst through the air, it became immediately apparent that this was not going to be your ordinary performance. A bluesy, distorted cry emanated from Danny's distinctive electric guitar, which caused the audience to feel goosebumps to run through their bodies. Despite the fact that the familiar groove of the Marvin Gaye song was still present, it had been imbued with a raw and gritty intensity that gave it the impression of being newly created, reimagining a timeless classic. The ability to take well-known songs and transform them into his own has always been a strength of Danny Joseph's. In the song, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, he drew inspiration from his rock beginnings while simultaneously paying homage to the emotionally profound nature of the original. His guitar grieved with a series of blues-infused riffs from the beginning of the song, which was accompanied by a steady drumming that gradually gained velocity. This introduction set the tone for the rest of the song. The bass line, which was more powerful and pronounced, rumbled through the speakers, lending the music an almost menacing quality through its presence. It was like a bolt of lightning when Danny's voice chimed in during the conversation. His voice were gritty and deep, and they bore the emotional weight of the lyrics associated with the song. He crooned, "I bet you're wondering how I knew," his voice oozing with both anguish and defiance. "I bet you're wondering how I knew." Following an initial period of mesmerization, the audience erupted in cheers. The show in question. Danny's stage presence was absolutely captivating. He was wearing his typical leather jacket and ripped pants, and he dominated every inch of the stage with his performance. In addition to being flowing, his movements were intense, and each step he took and strumming of his guitar served to accentuate the story he was conveying. The tempo quickened as he approached the chorus, and the rock and roll intensity exploded as he reached the chorus. Although the drums were crashing and the guitar was wailing, Danny's voice rose above all of this and he exclaimed, "I heard it through the grapevine." Clapping and singing along with the performance, the audience was on their feet. It was not just the rock twist that Danny added to the song that made his performance so captivating. Rather, it was the sheer emotion that he poured into each and every note with his performance. During his performance, he sang as if he had experienced every single line of the song, channeling the agony of betrayal and the fire determination to triumph over it. An unforgettable solo on the guitar. Approximately halfway through the song, Danny stepped away from the microphone and allowed his guitar to do the talking instead of him. Nothing less than exciting could be said about the solo. His fingers were flying over the fretboard as he unleashed a torrent of notes that danced between blues and hard rock. He did this while his eyes were closed. Each bend and vibrato note echoed the anguish that was expressed in the lyrics as the solo began in a slow and deep manner. Then, as the intensity of the drums and bass increased, Danny exploded into a fast-paced shred, his guitar screaming with a combination of technical accuracy and genuine emotion. The cheers of the audience were so loud that they almost completely overpowered the music. Having a relationship with the crowd, Danny's ability to connect with the audience was what set him apart from other performers in the entertainment industry. In the pauses between lines, he made eye contact with the audience members and gestured for them to join in on the singing. During a particularly emotional moment, he moved to the edge of the stage, leaned into the microphone, and let the audience to take over the memorable remark, which was, "I heard it through the grapevine." The response from the crowd was so loud that it filled the auditorium with a unified voice throughout the arena. It was obvious that Danny was buoyed by their enthusiasm as he smiled. He yelled out, That's what I'm talking about. With a tone that was filled with an expression of thankfulness and enthusiasm. A moment that stands out. The closing chorus was a brilliant example of how to create tension and give a payoff in a convincing manner. Danny lowered the volume of the music to a whisper, and his voice was barely heard as he introduced the first few words of the song. The room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop, and the audience was glued to every word that was said. This was followed by a sudden surge of energy from the band, which then proceeded to blast into a full-throttle climax. It was at this point that Danny's voice reached its highest point, the instruments blared with unbridled power, and the stage lights flashed in rhythm with the song. The audience was up and yelling with applause by the time the final note was played, and they were all on their feet. Resulting outcomes. Despite the fact that Danny was taking his final bow with sweat flowing from his forehead, the audience continued to cheer and shout for an encore. As he spoke onto the microphone, his voice was scratchy but filled with thanks. "You guys are incredible," he explained. "Thank you for letting me share this moment with you." Within the confines of the stage, Danny pondered the performance. During an interview, he stated, "There is a reason why this song is considered a classic. It possesses a great deal of both soul and feeling. The only thing I wanted to do was give it my own unique touch while still doing it right. My goal was to make people experience something. A legacy that is being created." The rendition of "I Heard It Through the Grapevine" that Danny performed was met with widespread acclaim from both critics and fans alike. "Danny Joseph just reinvented one of the greatest songs of all time," was one of the many posts that went viral on social media during this time. Also, that solo on the guitar, the very essence of magic. Reporters in the music industry remarked that Danny had successfully achieved a harmonious equilibrium between paying tribute to the original and exhibiting his own distinctive artistic abilities. It's rare to see someone take such a well-loved song and make it their own without losing the essence of what made it great, according to a particular critic. Danny Joseph has done exactly that. With a broader perspective, Danny's performance was not simply about showing his talent. Rather, it was about commemorating the power of music that has stood the test of time. "Songs like this remind us why we fell in love with music in the first place," he explained to reporters. "They speak to something that is universal, something that was experienced by all of us. I'm really thankful that I was able to talk about that with such a large number of people tonight." It is beyond a doubt that Danny's rendition of "I Heard It Through the Grapevine" will be remembered as a landmark moment in his career as he continues to ascend in the world of music. It was more than just a cover, it was a statement, a demonstration of his talent, his passion, and his ability to give a great song a fresh new lease on life. Additionally, for the fortunate fans who were present on that particular evening, it was an experience that they will not soon forget. One of the people who attended the concert stated that Danny Joseph did not merely perform that song, he owned it. Moreover, he made each and every word resonate with us.